Hello viewers, how are you all doing? Hope you're doing good. And I'm here from Bangalore. I keep saying that the weather here is getting a little warmer. I'm sure it's the same thing across all the cities now that summer is setting in. It's the time for us to wear something light, something beautiful, uh, and it can be a little sweaty. Well, fortunately, Bangalore weather, though it is hot, it is kind of manageable. One of the better metros. So I'm sitting under an AC, and I'm here with all of you. And today's session is going to be a very interesting one, which is called as EQ. It is called EQ stands for emotional quotient. It's also called as emotional intelligence. In today's session, the first half, we will try and understand what is EQ, why is it required, why are we doing this predominantly. We are not really going to dwell into the nitty gritties of it, predominantly because EQ is a topic that we have not really covered in any of our subjects in our curriculum. So, for most of you, it could be new. For some of you, you must have heard about it, you must have read about it. So I'm going to be covering the most basic aspects of it. I'm going to throw a lot of question and answer kind of a session in this particular module. I'm going to talk about a little bit of IQ, a little bit of EQ in this module, right? So that is what you can expect from today's session. The next section, which is going to start at 9 o'clock today, 9 p.m., we are going to dwell a little more in depth into what EQ is and how do we control our EQs, how do we manage our EQs, what are the four quadrants of EQs, what are the things that you need to know about yourself. That is what we're going to do in today's second half of the session that's going to start at 9. So today, let's start the session emotional quotient. Before we start, let me tell you if there's any questions that you would want to know, if there's any situation where you probably could have managed it better or you did not manage, and if you want to know how or what is the best method you think you could manage the situation, do text me. You don't have to wait for the end of the session to ask any questions. You can ask me whenever that you have a query. All right, so to start with, let me give you an introduction about myself. For the ones who have not attended any of my sessions in the past, I'm Nitin Prabhakar. I used to be a HR professional for 15 years. I've worked with corporates. I've worked with multiple MNCs, including Infosys, Satyam, Converges. I've headed human resources in few of the companies, and I really felt the need for students and employees to develop on their soft skills, and thereafter I quit and started the last 2 years back as a soft skills trainer. I educate people on the behavioral aspects, the leadership aspects in various corporates, institutions, and on online platform with Unacademy. Uh, do join the Plus program. The Plus program is going to be in depth, and the moment you get in there, you will have access to varieties of hard skills and soft skills access. And if you use my referral code or any of the educators code, you will be eligible for a 10% off. So please do use it so that you get the 10% off. And my referral code is NITIN PKR hyphen 4915. Yeah. All right. So let's get started. Let's start with some of the questions, right? Exercise of the brain is as important as exercise of muscle. You must have seen some people who go to the gym really are having a lean physique. So that is because they exercise their muscle. Similarly, we got to exercise our brains. Let's do a little bit of exercise for our brains. As we grow older, it's important that we keep mentally alert and fit. The saying, if you don't use it, you will lose it. Just take it easy, just cool, calm, relax. Some of the IQ questions is what we're going to ask, right? I'm sure this is something that's come your way in a lot of your tests that you take. Critical reasoning, aptitude. These are the questions that comes your way. I'm assuming that most of you could have an answer for this. Give it a try. All right, give it a try. So my first question is, what do you put in a toaster? Very, very basic, very simple question. What do you put in a toaster? Any response? I'm going to wait for 15 seconds. All right. Let me check if there's any answer so far. Hi, good evening, Suyash. Good evening, Anuj. Bread. You put bread in a toaster? Absolutely. So, very basic one. Anuj, you got it right. Suyash, you got it right. So, let's try the next one. So, if most people say toast, you guys must have really been doing a lot of course. So, I'm sure you would have answers to most of these, but some tricky ones. Say silk 5 times. All right. The question is, what do cows drink? So the answer that I get is water. Anuj, a lot of people say milk. You got it right. Perfect. Uh, Again, a very common one. If a red house is made of red bricks, blue house is made from blue bricks, pink house is made from pink bricks, black house is made from black bricks, what is greenhouse made from? Anuj, I think you got the answer right, but the spelling, I think it's a typo. You're right. Greenhouses are made from glass. A lot of people say greenhouse is made from green bricks, but logically speaking, greenhouses are always made out of glass, right? Next one. 20 years ago, a plane was flying at 20,000 feet over Germany. If you recall, Germany at the time was politically divided into West Germany and East Germany. There is an engine failure and the plane crashes smack in the middle of no man's land, in between the West Germany and the East Germany, in the middle. All right, in the middle between East Germany and West Germany. Where would you bury the survivors? Is it in the East Germany, or is it in the West Germany, or is it in the no man's land? Yep, Suresh, you got it right. We don't bury survivors. Middle of Germany. Anuj, you want to bury the survivors in the middle of Germany? The question is, where would you bury the survivors? We don't bury the survivors. We bury only the people who are dead. So this was a tricky one. We'll go. I think I have another one or two left. If the hour hand, that's okay, Anuj. If the hour hand on a clock moves 1 by 60 of a degree every minute, how many degrees will the hour hand move in 1 hour? If the hour hand on a clock moves 1 by 60 of a degree every minute, how many degrees will the hour hand move in 1 hour? One. So yes, give yourself a pat on your back. It's 1 degree. A lot of people say 360 degree, but it is 1 degree, right? So good job. I think this is the last one. This is a very common one. This was a WhatsApp one. Without using a calculator, you got to answer this, right? You're driving a bus from Mumbai to Nagpur, all right? In Mumbai, 17 people get on the bus. In Nasik, 6 people get off the bus and 9 people get on. Okay, Anuj, you're from Nagpur, so you can understand this better, right? So in Mumbai, 17 people get on the bus. In Nasik, 6 people get off the bus and 9 people get on. In Jalgaon, 2 people get off and 4 people get on. In Akola, 11 people get off and 16 people get on. In Amaravati, 3 people get off and 5 people get on. Without using a calculator, In Yavatmal, 6 people get off and 3 get on. You then arrive at Nagpur. Lot of calculations, right? But my question is, how many people were there in the bus when it reached Nagpur? And what is the name of the bus driver? Firstly, how many people were there in the bus when it reached Nagpur? 26. So yes, without using the calculator, you're saying 26. And my second question is, what is the name of the bus driver? So yes, you're absolutely right. This is predominantly the cognitive test, the IQ test, the listening ability that we check on this. Here, when we started, we said you're driving a bus. It talks about you are driving a bus, so of course the driver is going to be yourself, which is Suyash. Got it right, Suyash and Anuj. Good job out here. Now, these were the tests for IQ. So, what is EQ? What is your level of EQ? EQ, when you talk about emotional quotient is basically a measurement. So, there are a lot of questionnaires available on the net. You can go there and check your emotional quotient to understand where do you stand, right? So, what we are going to talk about is the importance, the benefits, and stuff like that in the first 30 minutes, and then, like I said, we are going to talk about how do we deal with EQ, right? EQ is basically come from the French word amour. Prior to discussing EQ, let us firstly talk a little bit about emotions. There are various types of emotions. Initially when I spoke about emotions, I used to think there are predominantly, happy, sad, anger, jealous. These are the 4 or 5 different most important things. But while I was Googling it, I understood that there are roughly around 70 different emotions, and one of the research says that there are 4,000 different emotions that a human being can have. That is kind of surprising that we can have 4,000 different emotions. Uh, Thank you, bro. Keep it up. Yeah. So the definition of EQ is this: emotional intelligence is to be and to behave intelligently when one is emotional. So we get emotional at different times, and during such situations, how do we behave, or how do we control our emotions? For example, there was this one thing that I heard from one of my friends who attended an interview in one of the top colleges. He went there for an interview, and the question was, you go to your house and see your girlfriend sleeping with another man, right? You go inside your house and you see your girlfriend sleeping with another man. What would you do? Apparently, a lot of people were very angry with the question. They expressed the emotions. There was violent exhibition of emotions. Some of them said that I'm going to kill him. I'm going to, call the cops. I'm going to scream at them. I'm going to yell at them. I'm going to talk to them. There was one individual apparently who said, I would go to the kitchen, I'll make coffee and then serve coffee to the both of them, because the other person who was sleeping next to my girlfriend is my girlfriend's father. So they share a relationship of a father and a daughter. And that person apparently got selected. I will make her silently go away from my house. So Anuj, so you will be a very very calm, pleasant, and you will silently ask her to leave, right? So this individual said, because the other guy is my father-in-law or my girlfriend's father. Absolutely okay with them being on the same bed. I made the bed coffee for the both of them, and this person apparently got selected because of the calm composure that he had. Believe me, it's not an IQ, it's not an intelligent quotient, it's the emotional quotient. During difficult times, when your emotions go for a toss, how do you manage your emotions? Do you keep yourself cool, or do you really react to that particular situation? Is all about your EQ, right? So let me ask you a few more questions as to what would you do. प्यार किया तो डरना क्या? So as you must be a Bollywood buff. You must be watching a lot of Bollywood movies. I must say. Okay, so I'm sure Suyash, you would probably go to the kitchen, get the knife, and kill the both of them. That is on a lighter note. Please don't try doing anything of those sorts. Okay, now this question to all of you. What would you do in these situations? You can be very honest in this. You can answer it on out here. Um, I'll stay away from my girlfriend kind of thing. No, sir, I rarely watch movies. Oh, is that okay? Okay. So these questions, the answers, you can keep it as honest as possible. The reason being, this will help you understand a little more about yourself. If you are comfortable, answer it on this chat window. Otherwise, you can give this answer in your mind to yourself. Okay, so yes, that's the same thing with me. If you give me a movie, I'm going to watch it for 3 days. The 3 hours, I'm going to break it in 1 hour and then watch it for 3 different days, because I don't really believe in watching 3 hours at a stretch, because life is too precious. Wasting 3 hours of my life, I don't really believe it much unless and until the movie is really fantastic. All right, my first question is: you're driving on a road and somebody dash you from the back. Somebody crashes your bike from the back. All right, you're driving and it's not your fault. Somebody comes and then dashes you from the back. Well, it's not a major accident. There's a small scratch on the bike, and there are no injuries to you, but the bike has a small scratch. What would you do? The options are: scream at the other individual, forgive that individual and move on, get physical at the other person and probably try to bash him up, move on and curse him within yourself. So you're still going to move on. You'll say okay, and then you'll curse that individual within yourself. What is that you would do? You can be very honest, very very candid about the answers. Once you have an answer, I'm going to give you roughly around 15 minutes to figure out what would you do. So Anuj, you would choose the second one. It's all right, forgive and move on. All right. See, this is basically about emotions, right? Normally, when somebody comes and dash our vehicle, there's a feeling of belongingness that this is my vehicle. How can somebody be so careless and come and bang me? And what if something had happened? Nobody would, meet with an accident deliberately, and that is why it is called as an accident. Irrespective of the kind of impact, I think we should just keep ourselves cool without even reacting. Forgive the other individual for what they've done, and moving on is the best thing to do. Emotionally, it is going to keep you at ease. It is also going to keep the other person at ease. Otherwise, it can be a battle. It can lead to a violence. It can lead to a lot more complexities, and I think we should not give it an opportunity. So it depends on the person who crashed it. If it's an elder person, then I'll forgive and move on. Otherwise, I will choose the fourth option: move on and curse him within yourself. Suyesh, you should read this. You should view this particular session from me on YouTube, which is on assertive communication. When you are not very happy from within, and say for example, if you're going to move on and curse him within yourself, what happens is that individual does not know that you're cursing. That individual is happy. That individual is happy, content, can move on in his life. But because you're cursing, ultimately the person who is being injured through the whole process is yourself. Say for example, I don't like an individual and I curse that individual from within. At the end of it, I would be disgruntled, I'll be dissatisfied, and at the end of it, the whole impact, the negative impact is on me, and thereby the other person is absolutely happy. He is so happy with his life. So irrespective of whether that being old man, it's a young guy, or it's a lady, whoever it is, I think the impact will be on you. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being honest. Where I'm coming from is ultimately the most important person for you in your life. When I ask this question to a lot of people, they say it's my father, it's my mother, it's my brother, sister, wife, whoever it be. But ultimately, the most important person for you in your life is yourself. And ideally try and refrain from doing anything that will impact you. The moment you start cursing the other individual, it's going to disturb you, and thereby stop cursing anybody. The best thing is forgiving. It's easier said than done, but if you can practice that as a daily routine, forgiving people for the mistakes that they do, it is ultimately going to keep you at ease. Yeah. That's one of the ways that you can gain emotional maturity. Believe you me, Suyash, I don't know whether you are still studying. I'm guessing you must still be a student, but the moment you go into a corporate world, you will be exposed to interacting with a lot of individuals, including your boss. Your boss may be very arrogant. Your boss can be a little too brash. How do you manage the situation? If it really take it to heart, then you'll be really disturbed. The best way is to forgive and move on. Forgive and move on. Having a very candid conversation with your boss, saying that what is happening is not okay. I don't really respect the way that you speak. I don't feel respected. So if you can talk to me in a different manner, that can change the course of action rather than keeping it within ourselves. Third year BCom student, fantastic. Okay, so you're very young, Suyash. Well, I completed my third year BCom in the year 2001, so I'm like your super senior. Oh, Anuj, you're in your third year BBA. All the best for your final year, guys, and all the best for your future. I'm sure you are looking at competitive exams, and all the best for that. On the Plus program, I'll be starting the interview skills workshop starting today. Please join those courses. Well, like I said, 15 years in the corporate, predominantly in the recruitment front. So you should be a part of the Plus program. I would share the experiences that I've had while I was hiring, what is accepted, what is not, right? That course is going to start from, I think, not today. It's going to be from the 22nd. All right. The next situation, if you get to know that someone speaks ill about you, they are speaking badly about you behind your back, you forgive them, you have a conversation with them to sort it out, you stop speaking to them, you badmouth them behind their back. What is that you typically do? If somebody speaks behind your back, do you forgive them, or do you go up to them and tell them, hey, I heard this is what you do, can we sort it out? Or do you stop speaking to them knowing fully well that they are talking ill about you? Or do you start bad mouthing about them behind their back? I did my MBA, Suyash, in AIMS, Acharya Institutes of Management and Sciences, and I was 2001 2003 batch. Okay, Anuj, you will both of you would choose the option two. Ideal thing to do, because if you forgive them, great, but because the best option is B. The second best option is A, but I would still say somebody who's having a great emotional intelligence would not just forgive because they have spoken about you and you're very sure that that is happening. Go there, try and sort it out. It's best. Assertive communication is all about, there's something in your head, you go and talk it out. You talk it out in a manner that it doesn't hurt the other individual. If I go to somebody and say, hey, how dare you speak to me, speak about me to others, you better don't do that. Now I'm talking my mind out, but I'm hurting the other individual. So that is aggressive conversation. If you want to move away from aggressive and be assertive, it is important for you to talk what is there in your mind in a manner that it doesn't hurt the other individual. So I might want to walk up to the other individual and say, hey, this is what I heard. I heard that you're talking about me and you're disappointed about me. Let me know more about it so that I can correct myself. If there's anything that you would want to tell me, please do tell me. And I would want things to be sorted out within ourselves. I would want things to, you to forgive what has happened and let us move on. Let us be good friends from now on. So is there anything that you would want to tell me? Now what's happening? You are taking the blame on your side. You are asking for a feedback. It is told that feedback is the breakfast for champions. If you want to be a champion, it's important for you to get feedback. Usain Bolt, or could be Saina Nehwal. You must have seen them practice a lot, and they say that one thing that will make them successful is going back and asking their coach how can they progress, what is that they need to work on, how can they proceed in or get better at what they're doing. In order to do so, they have to get feedback. So the ones who are open to getting feedback are the ones who are going to progress. My question to all of you viewers is, when is the last time that you sought feedback from your people? When I'm saying feedback, it did not necessarily have to be from the higher up. It can be from your peers, your friends. Go there and ask, hey, what are the things that you like about me? What are the things that you would want me to work on? Have you really done that? Hey, sir, it's very nice of you to say that. Yes, I am taking CAT classes, CAT classes for the soft skills, but I'm not taking the CET yet. Well, once I'm done with CAT, then I would be moving on to other courses as well. So, thank you so much for the encouraging statement. Very nice of you to say that. Right? So, my request is, please go there and ask for feedback. The only way that you can progress is by asking for feedback, right? And normally, what happens again, feedback is something that people don't accept very gracefully. Again, emotional intelligence plays a very, very vital role. When I give you a feedback, would you take it positively? Is the question. Let's say your friend comes and tells you, Suyash or Anuj, you're not good at it. I think you need to work on it. If you are an individual with emotional intelligence which is high, you would say, hey, thank you so much for the feedback, can you tell me more? Is there anything else that I need to work on? And then you would think about it. If it makes sense, then you would start working towards it. That is high level of emotional intelligence, and thereby it is important for you to choose the option to go there and ask for a feedback, and that will help you be a better individual, and also proves that your EQ levels are higher. Okay. My last question for you: if you lose your loved one, let's say that you and your friend, very, very good friends, now you both are not friends anymore, right? Two of you were very, very close but not close anymore. You will take very long to come out of it. You will come out of it as soon as possible. You will have grudge towards the other individual. So these are the three options. What is that option that you would choose? If you lose somebody, do you really take a long time to come out of it because you're emotionally involved, attached to that individual? Or do you feel bad for a short while and then move on? Or do you start disliking that individual and start taking grudge towards that individual? Again, be very honest in your answers. Of the toxic friendship, I okay. Well, sometimes it's toxic, sometimes um, just misunderstanding, right? Two good friends, but just misunderstanding. So I had a fight with my friend when I was in the 8th standard. Still, I don't talk with him. Okay. But the whole point is, do you keep it within you? Do you feel bad about it? Well, if things are not working out and if you're moving on, which is absolutely fine, not a problem. I'm not saying you need to be friends for life and stuff like that. There are two people whose ideologies, their thought process doesn't match. It's okay to separate. But my whole point is, are you carrying a lot of uh, vengeance within yourself? Are you being disgruntled? Are you being unhappy about the whole situation? Then sort it out, because I would choose the second option, which is you ideally should come out of it as soon as possible. I'll just give an example. There was I gave this example in another session. There was a death in somebody's family, one of my known family. They have two children. One of the kid went into bad depression for roughly around 6 months, because that was his mother who passed away. He went through a lot, 6 months, 7, 8 months, and then he started recovering. The other individual also loved his mother as much, but within a month's time recovered, understood that's a reality of life, and moved on. It is important for us to realize that losing individuals is a part and parcel of our life. Understand that the people that we are with, it's a gift, and enjoy that moment, and also knowing that all relationships are not really long lasting. Somebody could separate, somebody could we would lose them because of death, or could be any other reason, but we need to understand, and we need to come to an agreement that nothing is permanent in this life. Till such time one is there, we got to enjoy the company. When somebody is not there, We will miss them for sure, but it's important for us to move on. If we are stuck there, that is going to kill us. And that is what I was talking about. This friend of mine who went through an emotional depression for roughly six to 8 months and then recovered, losing 6 to 8 months of his precious life. Right? So all of these examples are basically talking about the emotional intelligence that we have, emotional quotient that we have, emotional values that we have. If we have it in the right quotient, then we will be able to manage those situations a lot more better. So friendship should be from both sides. Only one person should not put his friends. The other person should also value it and put efforts to sort out everything. Absolutely agree. Sure, you must have heard this. You can't really clap from one hand. Well, you can keep trying. You can keep trying, and if the other person does this, only then there's a clap. If this other person is not, then you can give in your best, and then you have given your best, and then you move out of it. But when you move out of it, you're out of it completely without any feeling of sadness, depression. That is gone. You move on from your life, right? It's over, done, dusted. There's more to your life, and then move on. I know of people who are in relationship, couples, when they break, they go through disaster. It's important for us to say, hey, we have stayed there for 5 years together. We've had a beautiful time. Now we are not together. I respect your space. I respect my space. Move on, because my life, I still have another 40, 50 years of my life, and I'm going to enjoy my life. You enjoy your life. The whole motto has to be happiness. If this gives me more happiness than being together, so be it. Right? So that, the kind of decisions that you take is all dependent on your emotional intelligence. So you ask yourself this question: where do you stand today with regards to EQ, that emotional intelligence? How many times have you said, I'm sorry for raising my voice, I was a bit angry and couldn't control? Because you couldn't control the emotion at the time, I was angry. I'm going to talk a lot more in my next session about anger, because this is my favorite topic. I have a session starting at 9 o'clock. I'm going to talk about this, and we'll progress to the next level of EQ, which is, there are 4 different quadrants. I'm going to talk about each one of those quadrants at length from 9 to 9:30. Any questions that you have at this point of time before we sign off? Suyash, Anuj, or anybody else, if there's any questions, please do write in. Otherwise, we're going to catch up again at 7 o'clock. I'm going to wait for the next 10 seconds. How can I improve my EQ? Well, Anuj, if you would want to improve your EQ, there is one thing that first level of any change is awareness. Firstly, understand where you stand today with regards to your EQ. Right? What are all the changes that is required? Where is that you're doing well with regards to emotions? Where is that you're not doing well? Right? If you can sit down and ask yourself these questions and write down the areas that you need to work on, that's the first level of your change. The next is, now that you know what are the things that you need to work on, the second one is progressing. Identify situations, consciously start working towards that. Right? There are 4 different levels towards change. What I can do is, because in the interest of time, I'm going to keep it at that right now. I'm going to talk about the 4 different levels of change during my next session, which is going to start at 9. So I'm going to talk about this particular slide, which is anger, and I'm going to address your question there, Anuj, at 9 o'clock. In case if you can't log in at 9 o'clock, you can always watch my recorded video on YouTube. So Anuj, I hope it makes sense. The first one is, firstly, become aware. Only awareness always precedes change. When you're aware of a particular thing, then you know that what are the things that you need to work on, and then you start working on towards it. Right? Thank you, Anuj. All right. So Suhas, Anuj, I don't have any. Thank you, Suyash. Thank you so much. Thanks, Anuj, for making it so interactive, being there, and be a part of the 9 o'clock session. We're going to continue from there. Have a lovely rest of the evening. See ya. I'm going to sign out now.